Hello. You just reached MRN Crew Call, presented by Hercules Tires. Your patience while holding is appreciated. Our representatives are working hard to get you closer to the guys on top of the pit boxes, over the wall, and on your radio dial. Thank you for holding. You are now being connected to your hosts, Tony Rizzuti and Kid Cruz.
Hello and welcome to another edition of MRN Crew Call. I'm Tony Rizzuti. We are presented by Hercules Tires, and I'm joined by a guy who reminded me that falling feels like flying until you hit the ground. Say hello to Kid Cruz.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Tony.
How are you? Look at that I've kept it country lately on the Open, huh?
Yes, very nice job.
Yeah, a little Chris
I'm
Stapleton.
surprised we're back after last week's program. We have nowhere to go but up, and I'm very happy about it.
We're back and better than ever, and
Yeah.
as always, you can join the conversation. You can tweet us. At MRN Radio is how you find us on Twitter. Use the hashtag AskMRN. That's how we find it. We're available on Facebook. You can find us pretty much everywhere. My favorite place, the Fan Forum Hotline, 1-844-4-AskMRN. We love to hear your voice messages.
Call, leave us a message.
We use them a lot in
Critique,
NASCAR
praise,
Live.
whatever, yeah,
we always like it. Kids always looking for followers. You see right down there his handle, the real Kid Cruz.
Yep.
Because
I'll
the
tweet you
fake
back.
Kid Cruz is getting way, way too much traffic.
He probably has more followers than I do, which is sad. Follow me. I'll follow you back.
There
Tweet
you
me.
go.
I'll tweet you back.
We have a great show for you, which considering last week isn't hard to do. Our first crew call is going to be to MRN's own. You also hear him on Sirius XM Radio. Does the morning drive with Mike Bagley. Pete Pistone, senior writer for MRN.com. We'll talk Darlington. We'll talk the upcoming playoff implications in Richmond. Does he?
He's not at a baseball game or anything
Oh, he
right now?
could be
Is he
calling
available?
us from Wrigley Field.
Okay.
That's or Portillo's. Is that what it's
Right.
called? Yeah, I think that's what it's called. He
Yeah.
loves to eat there. Get himself one of those Italian beefs. You ever had one of those?
Oh, yeah.
You got to do the
Oh, yeah.
Italian beef lean. You put your arms up on the thing and you eat it so the juices drip down and
That's
don't get
like
on
a
your shirt.
Guy Fieri move or something.
Yeah.
There. You stole that
you
from
saw
Diners,
that, right?
Drivers, and Dives.
It's excellent.
Yeah, the
And
hunch,
then
he
we'll
calls it, the
catch up
hunch.
with our own Robbie Mays. He's currently directing the program, but we'll get Robbie on the horn.
Wow.
Robbie, if you didn't know, for the last couple of years has been the PA announcer at Darlington Raceway, his home track. So we'll get kind of the behind the scenes of the Bojangles Southern 500. Also, he's our fantasy guru. You watch him on the inside line with Tyler Burnett, who Robbie likes to call that other guy, or the fat man. They had that thing at one point, Robbie and the Fat Man. We'll talk to Robbie Mays Hayes. This will be kind of fun, kind of like in the room talking to Robbie, and he controls the graphics so he can make us look good
This
or bad.
is what's happened to our show?
Yeah,
This is
and then
what's
we're going to
happened
play a
our
little
show?
5-on, 5-off, and this one's going to be fun because Robbie and I have already done his section. He and I have already played the game, so we'll get you, and then we'll play back what Robbie had, and he did pretty well. Today's category.
So you're setting me up for a loss. Something shady has happened here
there's
already.
no shadiness.
Yes, he's
There
nodding
are
his
no
head. Something
shenanigans.
shady. All right.
But today's category, it's not about the you.
Is it Let's Screw Kid?
It's not about the you. Hey, it's time for this week's Crew Cut, and if you're in Charlotte, North Kakalaka, like we are right here, you can see him Friday night at PNC Music Pavilion. What's new with our boy Dustin Lynch?
Are you kidding me? Dustin Lynch is like one of the biggest things happening.
He's
at
hot
least
right
this
now.
week.
The kids would say he's
Town
lit.
Boy, his single Small Town Boy, I think will probably end up being #1 in the country, if not this week or next. On Friday, a new album called Current Mood comes out. We'll talk a lot about it
What's
this
your
weekend on
current mood?
Mike. Slightly grumpy, edgy.
Really? I'm that way today, too.
Because my tummy is grumbling. It's
Yeah,
lunchtime.
I'm hungry. We'll
Anyway,
talk about that later.
you know, I said this before. I think the best bang for your buck as far as summer tours this year is the one he's on with Brad Paisley, Chase Bryant, great performer, hot newcomer Lindsay L. She's smoking, and then Dustin Lynch. I think we talked about this. I think it's just ridiculous. What a great tour.
It's an amazing time. Yeah, for me, it is ridiculous that I'm on it because I grew up playing guitar and learning guitar to Brad Paisley songs. Now I'm out there singing on stage with the guy. So what an amazing little full circle trip this life has already given me.
And Lindsey's not too shabby on the guitar. Did the three of you get out there and Chase is no slouch. Do you all get out there and jam at the end of the night? We
get out there and jam. I'm a lot better at drinking cold beer and high-fiving the crowd than I am playing a guitar solo. So I let them handle the guitar slaying, and I get out there in the middle of the crowd. So
you're more like me. I've been on Brad's stage at the bar. That's usually where I hang out at the bar.
That's where you'll find me too.
When are you getting back behind the wheel? Are you going to be racing, doing some of this short track stuff anytime? Come on.
I think I got to go down to one race this summer. It stinks. We're always touring on the weekends, so we miss a lot of the racing. But I got to go down one race and be in the crew helping my dad out. He races a late model on a quarter-mile track in Tennessee, and so we have a few of those just for fun. He likes to drive around and bang up, and I believe we started 7th, finished 4th, so not a bad night for us.
There you go. Dustin Lynch, man, loves some local racing, loves NASCAR racing, probably the #1 song in the country. If you listen to NASCAR USA this weekend, we'll talk more about his new album, again, Current Mood, which comes out on Friday. Just go to MRN.com, click on the Stations tab, and you can find a radio station near you that will air NASCAR USA.
Let me ask you this, kid. If you were playing fantasy country music for the upcoming week and you had to pick 3 people for your fantasy team, who would we be taking?
Definitely we'll do Dustin Lynch.
Yep. Would he be a good buy, or is he a favorite? Would that cost us some cash to get Dustin Lynch?
That's a big favorite
right there.
Have to, yeah, get you some
surprise in the charts. Maybe breaking into the top 10.
Let's go with what's his name? I was going to say...
Oh, he's my favorite.
Yeah, what's his name is your favorite? I totally forgot his name.
I think he's on the pop charts, too.
I'll tell you after the break, because I forgot, but he's really awesome.
Who's kind of fallen out of the charts? What do we not listen to as much right now?
I'm tired of Blake Shelton right now. How about that?
There we go. Blake Shelton's getting the axe here on MRN Crew Call. All right, it's time to take our first break. When we come back, it's my Italian paisan, Pete Pistone. He's next. Stay tuned.
Chicagoland Speedway turns up the volume September 14th through 17th. Be here Sunday, September 17th for a pre-race concert by country music artist Josh Turner, followed by NASCAR's Best Racing. Tickets for the Tales of the Turtles 400 are available now, and every race ticket is a concert ticket. Get your tickets now at ChicagolandSpeedway.com. Chicagoland Speedway, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series playoffs start here.
Hey, Danica Patrick here. When I have friends and guests at the track who want to hear me drop pearls of wisdom during the race, I send them to Racing Electronics.
You all right back there?
I think so. I didn't, other than hitting a car, I didn't hit anything, but there's a tire down or something.
If you aren't listening to all the action live, you're missing out. Don't forget to rent a scanner or fan vision for the races. Go to racingelectronics.com to pre-rent for great discounts on your scanner and fan vision rentals.
When the smoke settles, the entertainment never stops.
It's all a family sport.
On race weekends, your favorite NASCAR personality is an everyday superhero.
Brad Keselowski will win.
But when they leave the racetrack, they're just like everyone else.
We just have to find the value package that connects a new generation of fans.
I'm Susie Armstrong. Join me on a daily journey as we discuss the hot topics and engaging personalities of NASCAR Nation. Ned Jarrett's World of Racing, weekdays on the Motor Racing Network. Thank you for holding. Now back to MRN Crew Call with Tony and Kid.
Welcome back to the show, Graham. During the break, my esteemed colleague over here, Kid Cruz, let us know who that other fantasy pick was.
The country artist,
yeah.
Devin Dawson.
There you go. He's going to be
probably haven't heard of him
big.
Yet, but place your money on Devin Dawson. Or if you want someone who's on the charts right now to watch out for, Russell Dickerson.
There you go.
That's going to be a hit.
If you have your country music fantasy, we should start a country music fantasy game.
Sure.
That'd be fun to do. Let's go to the guest line and bring in one of my good friends. He's a senior writer for MRN.com, MRN Pit Reporter, and you hear him every morning on Sirius XM Channel 90, as well as others. It is Pete Pistone. Hey, Pete.
How are you, my paisan, Tony Rizzuti and Kid Cruz?
I need to get a Pinot for Pete.
Let's go. It's a little early here in the Windy City, but maybe I can make an exception for you, Tony.
Really? We were curious. Are you at Wrigley Field or at Portillo's? Those were our 2 picks.
Yeah, fortunately, Cubs are out of town, and I'm on my way to Portillo's. If that counts, I'll bring you back something for you.
So he's going to be leaving the Paisan Palace here shortly. Hey, Pete, let's start by looking back at Darlington, and what an incredible comeback run Denny Hamlin had after missing pit road and then having to chase down Martin Truex Jr. Add to that the incredible move he made at the Xfinity race with the crossover to get the win. I think we often don't talk about Denny Hamlin and his talent enough. Is he one of the most overlooked drivers we have on tour?
I think he is, Tony. And, when we go to Phoenix in a few weeks, we'll talk about Kevin Harvick in Phoenix because he's always so good there. And that's legitimate. I think we also need to start talking about how good Denny Hamlin is just at Darlington, winning the Xfinity race, winning his second Southern 500. And certainly they were off the radar as an organization, Joe Gibbs Racing, early in the year. But once Denny Hamlin in particular got that win at Loudon, his crew chief Mike Wheeler telling us earlier this week, that was sort of that defining moment for that team where they felt like they were headed in the right direction. You really can't argue with that. And I think as we go into the playoffs, we'll talk Truex Jr., we'll talk Kyle Busch. I think we should be talking about Denny Hamlin, rightfully so.
Am I jumping ahead too early, Tony? If I dive right into Richmond, I'd like to talk more about this weekend.
I'm ready. Let's talk.
If I barely even throw out the idea of Pete commenting on the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park race, his head's probably going to explode. Right, Pete? Not a huge fan of what happened there.
Not really. And again, let me say this. I think Austin Cindric's a talented driver. I think he's a young driver. I just didn't agree with the move. And I heard, he said many times, he said Sunday on our MRN broadcast from Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, and he said it many times this week, he felt like the way the system is set up, he had to do whatever he had to do to get a win. And I sort of understand that, but I still think there's room to run respectfully. I think there's room for sportsmanship. I didn't see it there. I thought the way Kaz Gralla handled himself, to me, was really impressive, a young guy like that handling the disappointment. But I'm just not a fan of the way Austin won that race. I think what will be interesting going forward, guys, is will he now be raced the way he raced Kaz Gralla in return? We'll have to see.
I don't know. This is not baseball. This is not golf. This is NASCAR. It's more like hockey, so I dig it. But anyway, we'll move on with my original question here that I wanted to ask. Pete, you tweeted earlier today, so I'm going to ask the question back at you. What would be the best story to come out of Saturday night's race at Richmond?
Well, here's the thing. And if you look at my column today at MRN.com, I think the 16 drivers we've got going in are going to be the 16 drivers we've got coming out. But there is room for that story, kid. And I think, to me, the story would be, and as a reporter, right, I don't root for drivers or teams. I root for stories. I think the story that I really would like to tell on Monday morning or on Sunday night at MRN.com is Joey Logano winning this race, because we know Joey won at Richmond in the spring. We know the race was not considered to be good enough to get a playoff berth because it was encumbered. But I love irony, boys. And can you think of anything more ironic than Joey Logano winning again at Richmond, moving himself back into the playoffs after what happened in April? I think that'd be a wonderful story to tell.
Oh, maybe he shouldn't have cheated. Then he would have been in already. I think a more exciting story, I think a better story for me would be Clint Boyer. I don't know how they could do it. If they pulled it off, though, and Clint Boyer won, I would love that.
How can there be any better story than Dale Jr.?
Is that still a story?
I mean, Junior making the playoffs would have to be the feel-good story, wouldn't it?
Well, okay, but here's the thing, guys. I like to root myself in logic and reason, and I can't find a logical or reasonable reason to say why Dale Jr. can step up and win the race. It would be a great story. Don't disagree with you. I've seen nothing out of that 88 car that would tell me that he'd be able to contend for a win on Saturday night, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know that I've seen anything out of any of the Hendrick cars, at least over the last, say, 3 or 4 weeks, maybe even the last month and a half, that would say one of the Hendrick cars could go to victory lane at Richmond. But I will say this, Pete, we saw it again at Darlington. We've seen it at just about every track. Martin Truex Jr. in that Furniture Row number 78 is constantly off the truck, no matter how their track changes, the fastest car on the racetrack. I feel like this is an unbeatable team, and I got to be honest, I haven't gone back and looked at the seasons that our past champions have had, but I don't see anybody that can run with the 78 across all the different types of tracks, plus the bonus points. Is this an unbeatable champion? And if not, who do you think can even run with the 78 by the time we get to Homestead?
I'll say 2 things, Tony. I think you hit on something really important there. When they get to the racetrack, they rarely are chasing it. And with some of these other teams we're talking about are trying to find speed through practice and qualifying, and by the time the race starts, they're already behind the 8 ball. You rarely ever see that with Martin Truex Jr. and the 78 team. And I was looking at the races we've got ahead here. Now, you mentioned the bonus points. He's going to have a very large advantage over everybody else because of the playoff points that he's accumulated. But show me one racetrack in the 10 that make up the playoffs where you could say that that's an Achilles heel for the Martin Truex Jr. Furniture Row Racing Team. I can't find one. So I think he's going to – it won't be easy per se, but I think he's got a pretty good path to Homestead Miami Speedway. So I'm putting him in the finale for sure. But I think the guy that's been really hot here at the end is going to be the biggest challenger, and that's the guy that won the championship a couple of years ago, Kyle Busch. He is coming to that crescendo at the very right time, and I think Kyle Busch is going to be right in the middle of this as well.
Yeah, that would be probably one of the other guys I'd put on there. And again, we talked about this with Dave Moody last week. This is the time of year, every year, that we write off Jimmy Johnson and say they don't have it. They don't have what it takes yet. Every year, Chad and Jimmy prove us wrong. Do you think that could happen again this year?
I certainly think it can happen again, and I know we've all seen this movie before, but there's a little bit of a difference here for me because Jimmy Johnson has 3 wins this year. We know that. Jimmy Johnson has 3 top 5 finishes all year long. It came in those 3 wins. Other than that, he's been way off the radar. Now, that said, last year at this time, we were talking about the same story and also about what's going on with Hendrick Motorsports and what happened when we went to Chicago Speedway to start the playoffs. Jimmy Johnson and Chase Elliott combined to lead 260 laps that day. So can they turn the switch on? Yes, we've seen it before. Is it a little different this year? It just feels that way. So we'll see if they'll prove some of the naysayers wrong coming up next week.
Maybe he's distracted, Tony. Have you heard that Jimmy's part of a new restaurant opening in Uptown Charlotte?
I did hear that.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
Is he more excited about the food or the racing?
Probably the racing.
Probably the racing. Probably, of course. Pete, so we'll touch on Richmond real quick here before the break. Who has the best shot, like some of the long shots, who has the best shot of winning? You said the 16. You said the 16 that are there today are pretty much going to be the 16. But if there was a long shot or someone who could win, who do you think it would be?
You know who that would be for me, kid? I think it would be Eric Jones. Look at Eric Jones and how he's been running lately. I can make the case that you could easily see the 77 in victory lane. I mean, I think he's got the Rookie of the Year locked up. But between what he did at Bristol, he went to Darlington last week, never raced there before, got a top 10 finish. We don't have to question the equipment with Toyota. If somebody outside of that 16 was going to be that upset winner, I would not be surprised if it was young Eric Jones on Saturday night.
That would be exciting.
That would be pretty cool. Hey, Pete, before we let you go, I know we talked briefly about Joey Logano, but this is a driver that has incredible talent. He drives for an owner that you know is putting out some of the best equipment. Yet we continually don't see Joey Logano either hoisting a championship trophy or even kind of scaring the field into thinking he's going to be a championship contender. I know Todd Gordon is on your show once a week, but if Joey Logano fails to make the playoffs, is it time to maybe shake up that 22 team, or do you continue to just say maybe this wasn't their year?
I would go with the latter, Tony, and here's why. If you look across the aisle over there at Team Penske, yeah, Brad Keselowski has a win, and he's in the playoffs, but I'm not seeing a lot of that team either, quite frankly. I think it's something, generally speaking, that maybe Team Penske, and to a large degree, guys, maybe Ford has to look at. They're all chasing Toyota. There's no doubt in my mind. Now, next year, you add another team over there, and Ryan Blaney. I got to wonder if maybe there's some soul searching going on, but I don't shake it up. I think this might be a little bit of an anomaly because I'm still a very big supporter of Joey Logano and Todd Gordon. Even though, boys, I picked Logano to win the championship, it's not looking very good this year for me.
I picked him as well, Pete, and I've just been surprised that they haven't been able to do more. Of course, if they don't encumber their win back in the spring, they're in, and maybe this is a totally different season. I think since that penalty, maybe they've been within the gray rather than going over the gray. Lately, it'll be interesting to see. It'll be an exciting race. I can't wait for Richmond this weekend. Pete, as always, we love the time that you give us here on Crew Call. Thanks for all the great work at MRN.com, and we'll be listening all this week on The Morning Drive. Take care, buddy.
Always a lot of fun, guys. Thanks.
There he is, Pete Pistone checking in. What do you think? Do you think Joey can get this win?
No.
They were impressive in the spring, but they haven't been.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Even close since
I don't
then.
think it's going to happen.
I don't either.
Nice guy, good dude. Hope he pulls it off, but I don't think so.
There you go. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to turn the cameras on our man Robbie Mays Hayes. He's coming up here on MRN Crew Call.
Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
MRN's Winged Nation on MAV TV.
Rico Aver's in the house. How are you?
Wow, this is great. Be on MRN, Wing Nation.
Brian Brown.
You guys do so much Wing Nation in general for our sport. It's awesome. You take us to the next level, and it's just awesome to have such a professional run show that is representing our sport, and something we're real proud of.
Greg Wilson's in the house.
Yeah, and thanks for what you guys do. And shout out to all you fans. You guys make our sport, and thank you.
Saturdays at 8:30 and 11:30 Eastern on MAV TV with Steve Post and Ashley Stremming.
After more than 1 million hours of development, the truck of the future has arrived. The new Cascadia from Freightliner, inspired by science, driven by passion. It's loaded with driver-focused improvements, such as noise abatement technologies for an even quieter ride, an innovative wraparound dashboard for improved comfort, and a reimagined driver's lounge that promotes productivity and relaxation. Experience the new Cascadia at your dealer or online at Freightliner.com.
Kid, I have a Mr. Timberlake on line 2. Something about a suit and tie?
Welcome back to the program. Tony Rizzuti, Kid Cruz here. Are we ever going to get Justin Timberlake or any of the NSYNC boys on the show?
I don't
you think
know.
you could pull off one of them by year end?
If we ever decide to have a production meeting and talk about planning out a show, maybe that would happen.
Well, but that would ruin the spontaneity and the quality.
Well, then I won't tell you.
this
Then
program.
maybe he'll just pop up one day and I won't tell you because I've no idea what the heck is going on from here on out.
There you go. Well, he's not a member of NSYNC, but he is a huge member of this program. He is our one and only Robbie Mays-Hayes. He's the host of the Inside Line Fantasy Show. You heard him on the PA at Darlington. He's a big part of this show, and you're going to get a peek behind the scenes as we bring him in. Hi, Robbie. Are you any good at multitasking?
We're about to find out, so hopefully.
Look at that. You got the whole There is that. I mean, this is like checking in at the National Weather Service. You have all the toys over here. What are we looking at?
I feel like Jim Cantori right now. So this is my control desktop. Let me get my coffee out of the way here. So this is my control desktop. All of my sources, all of my graphics, my videos, everything comes through here, and I press the buttons on this keyboard to make all of it go on there. So it's I make it look easy, but it's actually incredibly difficult, and I feel super weird looking at the camera from this way.
And you do a super good job of it. Hey, it was a home race.
Did he really just say that what he does is incredibly difficult?
That's what he
said.
said.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, we sit and watch him the whole. Just go with it. Go with it.
Okay.
He can make us look bad on this show. Hey, it was a home race for you last weekend there in Darlington for the second straight year. You were the voice of Darlington Raceway. How was that experience? Give us a peek behind the scenes of what it was like at the Bojangles Southern 500.
Okay, so for me, guys, that was that's 22 straight Bojangles Southern 500s for me. I think this is 8 or 9 years working with MRN, but to be able to sit up there in that press box and talk on the PA microphone, all the years that I went there and listen to the people on the speakers, that's been incredibly cool the last couple of years. A lot of reading copy out of a book beforehand. A lot of paying attention, working with the ISM Vision team, which I was a part of for 6 years before I moved over to the MRN.com side of things. But it's a different perspective. It's a lot of fun. You have to be race announcer, you have to be tour guide, you have to be a lot of different things. So it's difficult at times. I felt more comfortable doing it this year than last year. So hopefully we'll get to do it again in 2018.
Hey, you sounded great.
I didn't get a chance to hear him.
Why didn't you come down?
Slacker.
Give us an example. Why don't you give us an example of like what you say on the mic there on the PA?
Okay, so hey race fans, it's bow time in Darlington. Stop by the concession stands and get some Bojangles today. I may never eat Bojangles ever again, and
That's a lie.
I may never drink a Busch beer ever again.
That's a lie.
That's also probably a lie too. So, but yeah, stuff like that. PA copy, PA scripts. Working on the pre-race stuff, we had Monica Palumbo, Danny Lockamy, Ricky Rackman was part of the show on Sunday afternoon.
How many pimento cheese sandwiches did you eat?
I have not eaten a pimento cheese sandwich since I was probably about 10 years old.
Really? Not
Yeah.
even the good Darlington Raceway
No,
ones?
no. My great-grandmother used to make great pimento cheese, and I haven't eaten one since she passed away. So, yeah, I don't eat pimento cheese.
Did you have more fun at the track or at your Buffalo Wild Wings adventures?
Probably
away
more
from
fun
the track?
at the track.
I don't know that everybody needs to know all the behind-the-scenes stuff. If we're going
Oh, I
behind
thought
the
we were going
scenes.
deep into. I
mean,
thought it was a
if we
very
s-
in-depth profile of
If this
Robbie.
suddenly shifts to Dover, this show's gonna get interesting.
I had more fun at the track than we did anything else. I love going to the racetrack, and I love that racetrack too.
All right, let's get serious for a second. You are the fantasy racing guru. We head to Richmond this weekend. I'm looking for a lock, Robbie, regardless of price. Doesn't matter if they're a favorite or not. Tell me who fits that bill at Richmond.
I think you have to look at Kyle Busch. I think you have to look at Denny Hamlin. I say Kevin Harvick, even though Tyler Burnett disagrees with me. I think Kevin Harvick could be a good pick this weekend. I think you have to look at Matt Kenseth. If your league pays for laps led, he led a ton of laps during the spring. I think he could be a good choice. I'm going to stay away from guys like Jimmy Johnson. I'm going to stay away from guys like Brad Keselowski. And I know he's going up there to try to win the race, but I'm staying away from Joey Logano. I think they're going to go in there and they're going to have some issues this weekend. I would not pick the 22 car.
Okay, as to that same thing, give me a bargain guy. Has there been a go-to guy in the back half of the field that's done well for you this year?
A go-to girl has been Danica Patrick.
Really?
And we're going to talk about this on the Inside Line on Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on MRN.com. Watch us. She qualifies worse than she finishes, so she's going to get passing points. So I think Danica could be a good cheap option this weekend for you on your fantasy team. Obviously, Michael McDowell has been good all summer.
Yeah.
I think Ty Dillon is good. So any of those guys. And, of course, Ricky Stenhouse gets around the track pretty well too.
Final question for you. Is there anybody in the same league, we asked this of Pete, week in, week out, that can challenge the 78 car for the championship this year?
I think when we get to Homestead, if Kyle Larson is in the Final Four, the way he gets around that racetrack, I think Kyle Larson could be a threat for the 78, but he's got to get there first. And some of the tracks in the playoffs have not been good to him over the years, but a lot of tracks that we went to in the first part of the year haven't been good to him over the years either, and he was up front there too.
All right, great stuff. All right, it's going to be time now to play the game, 5 on, 5 off. We'll take a brief commercial break. We're going to play with Kid. We've already played with my man Robbie over here, so I kind of know his answer. So this can be a little bit different this time. You got to stay tuned. You're going to love this. It's not about the U. It's 5 on, 5 off coming up right after this.
While the weather may be cooling down, racing season is still heating up. Make the most of it with hot Creekstone Farms offers like 25% off all orders. Creekstone Farms premium Black Angus beef is raised and grazed in the USA, and that means you get the highest quality, finest tasting beef anywhere. At creekstonefarms.com, use promo code MRN25 off to get 25% off your entire purchase. Use promo code MRN25 off at creekstonefarms.com and get 25% off today.
If you or your family love the freedom of swimming any time of year, if you love sharing good times and making great memories, or if you want one of the best total body workouts ever, then it's time to discover the 3 C's of your very own endless pool. The first C is convenience. Imagine swimming year-round in your own private swimming pool, installed indoors or out, just steps away. The second C is comfort. With sculpted spa seats and your own adjustable temperature, you can easily escape the stress of your day. And the third C is cost. Your endless pool is an affordable luxury at a fraction of the cost of a regular pool. And here's a bonus C, choice. Because when you call for your free Endless Pool Idea Kit, you'll receive information on our full line of pools to suit your budget and location.
Call now for free information. 800-283-8089. 800-283-8089.
Time now for Motor Racing Network's #1 game show. The game where MRN talent prove their mettle against the unshakable Kid Cruz to see if they've truly earned the right to sit atop the pit box or if they're simply a tool. It's 5 on, 5 off on MRN Crew Call.
Kind of a special edition of MRN Crew Call today, a little 5 on, 5 off with Robbie in the building,
that makes
sitting
it special.
in the room with us, but we've had a chance to kind of lean into him. It's time to play the game, and it's lunchtime, and we have a new special for you now that September is hit. And hey, racing fans, want to save 25% on Creekstone Farms premium Black Angus beef and all natural Duroc pork? Well, speed over to creekstonefarms.com and use the exclusive promo code MRN25 off to get 25% off your entire purchase. That's MRN25 off at creekstonefarms.com today. New thing for September. So hopefully you had your burgers and stuff during your summer cookouts, and now it's time to get those steaks and that pork back on there.
All right.
Good stuff. All right. It's time to play the game with our own Kid Cruz. Robbie's going to put 45 seconds on the clock. Remember, the category is It's Not About the U. And real briefly, I want to kind of preface this with the hurricanes that are out there. Certainly our thoughts and prayers still with those folks in Houston that are dealing with the cleanup from Harvey. If you can give certainly do that. And now Irma's starting to track down on the state of Florida and the Carolinas and everything. So everybody in the path, please be safe. And I chose these questions about hurricanes to just keep you aware that these storms are very dangerous. I think a lot of people don't realize.
Hurricane preparedness
it
quiz
is
or
in a
something?
way. So pay attention to these because they could prove to save your life down the road. So 45 seconds on the clock.
All right.
Here we go, Kid Cruz. Your time starts now.
Okay.
At what speed does a tropical storm become a hurricane?
Tropical storm to a hurricane?
Yep.
105.
Christopher Columbus wrote the very first known report of a hurricane in what year?
1512.
According to National Geographic, how many gallons of water does a large hurricane unleash per day? Big old number.
How many gallons a day?
Per day.
A trillion a day.
What percentage of deaths in hurricanes come from storm surge?
Percentage of death in a hurricane storm surge? Probably 75%.
And Hurricane Andrew in 1992 spawned how many confirmed tornadoes?
170.
170 was the answer. And you can see storm surge is the biggest cause of death. So be worried when they say water's coming in. Also, tornadoes can spawn up in and around that area because of the circulating winds. All right, let's bring in producer Daryl Smith.
Informative and serious
Well,
today.
I mean, I'm worried about this thing that the track's headed right for Florida and then up through the Carolinas. These things aren't to play around with. That's right. All right, Daryl, probably going to have to do some math here, but let's start it here. Oh, wait, we got to play Robbie, don't we?
That's correct.
Robbie's waving at me like, what do I get to play? All right, earlier we got a chance to play the game with Robbie Mays-Hayes. All right, Robbie, it's time for a little 5-on-5 off. Again, the category, it's not about the U.
Okay.
All right, you know how we play the game. Try to get as close as you can. We're going to put 45 seconds on the clock, and Robbie, your time starts right now. At what speed does a tropical storm become a hurricane?
55 miles an hour.
Christopher Columbus wrote the very first known report of a hurricane in what year?
1492.
According to National Geographic, how many gallons of water does a large hurricane unleash per day?
Big
number.
2 million.
What percentage of deaths from hurricanes is from storm surge?
25%.
And Hurricane Andrew in 1992 spawned how many confirmed tornadoes?
147.
There you go. You had 7 seconds to spare.
I didn't do too good.
All right, there it was from earlier when we had a chance to play with Robbie. So let's bring in producer Daryl Smith and see who won this game. It is super close by my math, but Daryl's got the abacus back there, so he'll be able to tell us how we really did.
Indeed.
Hi, Daryl.
Hey, hey.
All right, what speed does a tropical storm become a hurricane? Kid Cruz said.
105.
And Robbie Mays said.
55.
The correct answer?
74.
74. The point goes to Robbie Mays-Hayes. Of course, Daryl and I, both students at the University of Central Florida, so we've had our share of tropical events.
Indeed.
Second question, Christopher Columbus, let's say that again. Christopher Columbus wrote the very first known report of a hurricane in what year? Kid Cruz said.
1512.
And Robbie Mays said.
1492.
The correct answer.
1495.
1495.
Oh, nice.
Robbie
Nice.
Mays up 2-0.
All right.
Is it at this point in the show, Daryl, that we remind Kid Cruz that he got skunked by Dave Moody last week?
Yes, it is.
Well, considering this was actually done and pre-taped, you guys could have totally...
No hijinks and no shenanigans.
there
Yeah,
were
right.
none.
I don't
in the
trust
making
any
of
of
this
I don't
program.
trust any of it. I don't trust you as far as I can throw you, even the new skinny Robbie.
I don't trust myself. So
No Robbie Mazes were hurt in the recording of
There
that
you
tape.
go. According to National Geographic, how many gallons of water does a large hurricane unleash per day? Kid Cruz said.
A trillion.
A trillion. Robbie Mays said.
2 million.
And the correct answer.
2.4 trillion.
2.4 trillion gallons of water. Kids on the board 2-1. Robbie Mays.
I got the next one too.
Hayes. Question 4. What percentage of deaths from hurricanes is from storm surge? Kid Cruz said.
75%.
Robbie Mays said.
25%.
The correct answer.
90%.
90%, guys. Flooding is where it comes from. And the final question as a 2-2, the person who wins this wins all the Tostitos. Nobody? Okay. Hurricane Andrew.
So we have this serious subject. We're taking a quiz, and now we've made it a game show, and we're giving away Tostitos.
Hurricane Andrew
safe
in
out there, everyone.
1992 spawned how many confirmed tornadoes? Kid Cruz said.
170.
Robbie Mays said
147.
the correct answer.
62.
62. Robbie Mays Hayes gets the point. He gets the win.
Yeah.
Hold on. Throw the rock. Can we throw the rock? Since
Wrong
Robbie
game.
won, throw the rock.
Throw the rocky kid.
Throw the rock. We got 1 minute.
Really?
Boom. Rejected. Fun show today, Robbie. How was it being on the other side? A little bit different?
Little different. Wish I could have seen what I was cutting from where I was sitting, but not bad. I'd like to thank all of my sponsors. I'd like to thank Coke Zero Sugar, Chevrolet, and the University of South Carolina.
There you go.
Go Cox.
The only win this year for the University of South Carolina, by the way.
That might not be wrong. Well, no, they won. They beat NC State.
We won Saturday.
Okay, so they have 2 wins on the year, and that's going to be it.
There you go. Hey, another loss. That's it?
No, that's it. I'm over it.
Dustin
I'm
Lynch,
done.
you going?
Yes.
PNC?
Yep.
I'll see you there.
I'm
It
gonna
sounds
drink
like
my
a good
blues
time.
away with Dustin Lynch.
There you go. Thanks to everybody, Pete Pistone, Robbie Mays Hayes, and most of all of you for watching MRN Crew Call. See you next week.
You've been listening to MRN Crew Call, presented by Hercules Tires. Stream us every Wednesday at noon on MRN.com or on the MRN app. MRN Crew Call is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center, on our Facebook page, on YouTube, or download it through iTunes or Google Play. MRN Crew Call is a production of the Motor Racing Network. Goodbye.